Welcome to Cybrary. I am Raymond Evans, and I will be your subject matter expert for Cybrary's Web Application Penetration Testing course. And in this video, we will be discussing packets. What are they? So what will be covered? We're going to discuss what a packet is, what makes up a packet, the different fields that make up the packet, and why do we need to worry about packets exactly? So let's get started. What is a packet? Well, a packet is a unit of data which is transported across networks to facilitate communications between hosts. So what exactly does that mean? Well, a packet is how we browse the web, stream movies, send text messages, and do everything else on the internet. Send email, all kinds of stuff. Packets are how machines communicate. It's how they talk. As simple as that. Packets come in TCP and UDP, and they both look very different, TCP and UDP, because they both facilitate different kinds of communications. TCP deals with the connection-oriented communications, whereas UDP deals with connectionless-oriented communications. And I discussed that in another video. So what makes up a packet? Well, we are going to be discussing this packet here, this image that I snapped. This was a simple packet that was captured via Wireshark. I followed the TCP stream to get the packet information out of the TCP stream. So we're going to be breaking down the fields in this image here that are the important fields that you need to know about. Information like this can be acquired through any kind of packet capture program, such as TCP dump or Wireshark. TCP dump is better to use if you are doing packet analysis over a large period of time. Wireshark is good to use if you are analyzing the packets on the fly and just need to look at things for a quick minute. If you continue to run Wireshark for an extended period of time, it will eat up a lot of resources. So the first part we're going to discuss here is that top portion of that image, which is the GET packet. So the GET packet is somebody going out to the internet and saying, hey, I want to view this website. So what this GET packet is doing here in the first line is giving us the directory of where that resource is that's trying to get from the server. And it also shows us that we're using HTTP 1.1 instead of HTTPS. It says right there HTTP. Next, we have our host. So that is the website that we're trying to get to. I try to get to it via an IP address rather than a URL. If you were going to a normal website, you would see the URL of the website in that field. Next is the user agent string. So the user agent string is what is telling the server what you are. So there are user agent changers that you can have as an add-on to your web browser. And with those different user agent changers, you can get all kinds of different views of web pages. And in fact, you can actually get access to certain pages on servers that you shouldn't be able to get access to based on different user agents. For example, the Googlebot goes around and will index all the web pages on the internet, except for what's put into the robots.txt file. That Googlebot is able to get into a lot of web pages that should actually be paid for. So one of the things you want to check for in your company if you have content that needs to be paid for is, are you allowing Googlebot into that content? If so, somebody can use just a simple user agent changer and make themselves look like a Googlebot. And then below that, we have the connection type, which was a keep alive connection. There's two types of connections. There's keep alive and there's closed. And then we did not have a cookie in this packet, but in a normal packet where you might be logging into something, you would have a cookie. And that cookie contains the session token. That's a very important piece of information, because if somebody was to capture that using something like cross-site scripting, they can use that session token to pretend to be somebody else and get access into everything that they were doing without needing a password. And then right below that, we had the response packet. Here in the first line of the response packet, we saw the 200 OK. So that's the server code coming back saying, hey, communications were good. 200 OK, here's the data. It also gave us a timestamp, which is important if you need to keep record of what you did at what time. That's another way of being able to provide evidence, is the timestamps provided within your packets. Then the server also sends us back information saying, hey, I'm an Apache 2.2.16 Debian server. So that's also very handy for somebody who's performing a web application pen test. You can simply look at the packets, see, hey, this is an Apache 2. whatever or 1. whatever. You can then look up any known vulnerabilities, any kind of big bugs, and try to exploit that and see if you're still vulnerable in your organization. Then there's the content encoding. So if you can't figure out what's going on with a certain piece of content, if you're looking through the packets and you can't quite look at the information properly, you might want to look at the content encoding, because that'll tell you how the content is being served back to you. In this case, it was gzipped back. And then we have the content length. So that's the length of the response in bytes. This is important because this can give you a baseline of what should be normal for what's returned to a customer. So if a company takes a baseline packet capture and says, hey, our content length should be about this much, and you go to browse to it, and all of a sudden you're getting something that's thousands upon thousands upon thousands of bytes bigger, something might be up. You might be getting something extra returned back, such as some kind of cross-site scripting attempt that might be going on. So then there's the keep alive. How long is this connection going to be maintained? How long before the server does not maintain that connection anymore? And how vulnerable are you to something like a DDoS? If you have a very, very high keep alive time, then you're more likely to be DDoSed than a very low keep alive time. And then again, we have the connection type going back saying, hey, the connection type keep alive is good, I accept it. And then we have the content type. So it tells you right there, hey, we are delivering back to you text HTML. So why would we need to worry about packets? What's the big deal with them? Well, I went on to another field and I submitted some information. I said, this is a form field, and click submit. And here we see in this HTTP traffic, clear as day, that query went out. It states name equals, this is a form field. Now, if you have HTTP traffic going and somebody was to submit user credentials, then those would be clear text. So that's why you would worry about packets. Another reason to worry about packets is hidden form fields. Sometimes a web application may put something like privilege levels as a hidden form field. So your privilege levels will start out as a basic user. Well, if I analyze that traffic and I send a submission for a brand new account and I see that my privilege equals basic, well, I can start messing around with that. You know, I can change my privilege to admin and attempt that. Or just look at some kind of structure. Take a look at the different user accounts that you see floating around and see what they might have in common. You know, look at the HTML maybe and try to figure out any kind of leaked information in there. And then simply submit your new privilege level. Packet manipulation is a very good way of getting even deeper into a network and tricking a web application into giving you higher credentials. Packet manipulation can also be used to fake cookies and things like that. So that's why we would worry about packets. You need to always analyze your packets, know what's being delivered out to people, and know what people are submitting. And you need to know if those packets can be manipulated or not. So what was covered? Well, I discussed what a packet is. I discussed what makes up a packet. I talked about those different form fields are important, and I discussed why we need to worry about packets. Happy hacking, everyone.